Hello everyone, this is Praveen Kumar. I hope you all guys are doing great. Today we are going to learn about the calculation group and how we can create a calendar table in Power BI. So first we will discuss what is calculation group and we will do all the demonstration in this video. So the basic definition is calculation group in Power BI. It let you to reuse the measures dynamically without creating multiple copies. So instead of writing several measures like for sales last year, sales year over year, sales month to date, you can use only one measure and you can create calculation group so that you can use the base measure and then you can do lots of things like you can use it into the several measures. So we will see how we can do this in the example. So first we will load a data. If I click on this new page, here I have a sample data. So let me load a sample data, which is available in Power BI. So the name of data set is financial data set. We will load this data and then we will do all the practice by using this data. So let me click on this financial table and then I'm going to the Power Query editor. So I'm clicking on transform data. Now in the transform data, I can see all the columns, segment, country, product, discount, and here you can see we have a date column. So this date column is very important. We will use this date column for creating a calendar table. Calendar table is important because when you are creating the calendar table, you are removing the gaps between the date. Suppose you have a fact table, sometimes you have some gaps in your the date. So in calendar table, you are removing the gaps and then we will link that particular date with the fact table date column. Then we will remove all the gaps from our fact table. So for creating the date, we will click on this new source and here I will click on this blank query. So I will create all this thing by using Mcode. Now I will click on this advanced editor and here we will use all of our code. So first what we have to do, suppose we have a date column in the financial table. I will first fetch the minimum date and then I will fetch the maximum date and then I will create a series using the maximum date and the minimum date. This will create my date column in this calendar table. So for that I'm writing the code. I'm creating a mean date variable and then I'm converting it into date from, and then I'm creating a list, which is the minimum list from the date column. So it is available in financial table. So I'm writing a financial and then date. So it will fetch the minimum date from the date column of financial table. Similarly, I will fetch the maximum date from the maximum date from the date column. So I will use max date, and this time I'm using list.max function. Okay, so these two things will fetch the minimum and maximum date from the date column. Now I will create a series by using this mean date and max date. So for that, I'm creating a variable date list. And here like, I'm creating a list of date. So list.date dates. And here you need to write three things. First, you need to mention the start date, which should have a date data type, and then count as a number, and then step as a duration. So for the minimum date, I will use as a starting date. So I will use here mean date, which I have already created this variable. Now after comma, I will I will use here like the duration. So I will use the duration of days. So I will use the code here duration dot days, and then I will use max date minus mean date, and then I will add one. So it will basically create a series from minimum date to maximum date. Now after comma, I will give the duration. So duration means I will use has duration and I will give 1, comma 0, comma 0, comma 0. Basically, I'm moving a step by 1 day. So that's why I'm giving this thing. So this will create complete the date column. Now I need to convert this into list into a table. So for that, I'm creating a new variable date table, and then I'm giving here table dot form from list from list, and here I will use this variable date list. I'm just copying it and pasting inside it, and then I have to use a splitter split by nothing, and then I will use this function basically nothing, and then I will create a column and its name should be a date. So inside a curly braces, I'm giving the name of column inside the double quote. This is the name of my column. Now, now I need to like date table is there, and again I need to give here comma. Okay. Now I will show this date table in our result. So I will put it here. After in, I will put this date table. Now, if I done this, you will see my column is created, and you can see here the column is created and its data type is different. So I will change it by clicking on here and changing it to the date. So now our date column is created. Now I will create some more thing, like I will create year, or I will create month column, I will create quarter column. This will I will do, and this is very easy. I can go here in the add column, and I select this date column, and then from here, first I will extract the year. So if I extract the year, I will get the year from this date column, and then I want the month. So I select this date again, and in the month I will click on this month. Now again I want a quarter. So again I select this date column, and inside a quarter I will like click on this quarter of the year. So it will give me the quarter of the year. Now again I want the name of the month. Basically, I want the month name. So for that, I click on this date column, and then here I have month, and inside here I have a name of month. If I click on this, I will get the name of the month. Again, I want the day of particular date. So I will click on this and day. This will give me the day. Now I want the weekday. So again, I select this date column. Now this time I will go to this week, and here I have day of, we can say, if I go to day, here I have day of week. I want the day of the week. So day of the week is extracted. Day of the week means like it is Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. This will show, and it will start from 0 and end with 6. 6 means Saturday. So I have created this calendar table, and then I will change the name of this particular table to calendar, and then I will close and apply. Now my board table is loaded in Power BI desktop. Then I go to the model view, and I make a relation of this calendar date column with the financial date column. So I'm just dragging it and then saving this relationship. Now our calendar table is created and is linked with our fact table, which is financial table. Now we will create a measure inside a table, a dummy table. So for creating a dummy table, I'm clicking on this enter data, and then I am giving the name all measures. You can give whatever you want, but I'm giving here all measures. Now this dummy table is created. Now inside it, I will create a measure, which is nothing, which is the total sale, I can say. So let me create the measure. Here I'm giving the name sales. I'm giving the name sales, and equal to, I'm giving here sum, and then sales of the sales column of the financial table. So basically this is a simple measure, and I will create one more measure for gross sales. So I'm creating a new measure here, and I'm giving here gross sales as a name of my measure, and I'm giving here sum, and I will choose gross sale column from the function table. So these two basic measures are there. I have created. Now suppose like I want to remove this now. So I want to remove this column one. If I delete from the model, it will look like this, like all the measures inside this, all measures. Now suppose I want to create a matrix. So I will click on this matrix. Inside this matrix, if I want date in the row and sales in the value, and then gross sales in this particular thing. So this is fine. It is working fine. But suppose someone says that you should put the previous year sales, you should put the MTD, YTD, QTD. Then you need to create different measures. You again need to create a different measure. So for that, what we are doing, what usually a beginner are doing, they were clicking on this new measure and they were creating like the measure again and again. So I'm giving an example. So for MTD, I'm again creating I'm using calculate function, and inside here I'm using sales column, and then I'm using dates YTD, dates MTD for MTD, and I'm choosing the date of calendar table. So this will be my first measure for MTD, and this is for sales MTD. Okay, this is for sales MTD. Suppose I want to create a gross MTD, then again I need to create another measure, and this time I have to use gross sales instead of sales. Suppose I want to create MTD, again I have to create another measure. So if I have to create previous year MTD, YTD, QTD for this two sales and gross sales. So it become very hectic for us, and you need to create 8 different measures. To reduce this complexity, we have a calculation group. So for that calculation group, we have two ways. We have two ways to create the calculation group. First one, from using the tabular editor. So I have already installed the tabular editor. I will click on this tabular editor. So inside this tabular editor, I have a model menu bar. I will go to this model menu bar, and here I have new calculation group. So if I click on this calculation group, I have to give the name of our calculation group. So I'm giving the name is time intelligence. Intelligence. Okay. Now if I press enter and I expand this, I will get a name. Again, I will give the same name here. So I will change the name from here. Time intelligence, and I will press enter. So this is my basically group, and inside that I have a calculation items. I need to create the items like whatever things I want to measure. I want to create YTD, MTD, QTD, and PY. Then I need to create different items here. So I have to right click and then new calculation item. So I will give here name MTD, and inside here expression editor, I will give all the like command calculate. And then when you are creating calculation group, by default we have a selected measure. So selected measure, we need to write it here, selected measure function. After comma, I have to use dates MTD, and then I need to use calendar and the date column of this calendar table. So this is the measure of MTD. So let me increase the size. This is the measure of MTD. Now I will copy this thing and I will first accept the changes. So your one measure is created. Let me give the name again. This name is not changing. I'm giving the MTD and pressing enter. So MTD measure is created. Similarly, I will right click on this, and then I will create YTD, and this time I will use here dates YTD, and I will accept the changes. Similarly, I will create for QTD and enter. I will paste the same command, only I will change here QTD. So it will give me the quarter to date of selected measures. Now again, I want a previous year. So PY means for previous year. So I'm giving here my same measure, but this time I will use same period last year. Same period last year. Now I will accept the changes. So you will see there are 4 measures which I have created inside this calculation item, and I'm saving it. So I will go there, file, and then save it. So if I save this and if I refresh the dashboard, I will see my calculation group is created. So you can see here a different type of icon is showing here. This is time intelligence. This is nothing. This is our calculation group. So if I go to this model view, inside the model view, I can see here the calculation group is here in the model data pane. If I click on expand this and if I expand this time intelligence, you have a calculation item. And if you click on this MTD, I can see the whole measures here, MTD. And if I click on this PY, I can see previous year measure, QTD and YTD. So everything is there. Now I will use this calculation group for using the sales and gross sales for creating all different measures like previous year MTD and YTD. So you don't need to do anything. You just need to drag it into the column. I just drag this time intelligence into this column. So if I expand this, you can see the sales having MTD having a different column and this gross sales MTD in a different column. Similarly, I have previous year for sales and gross sales, QTD for sales and gross sale, and YTD for sales and gross sale. So here I didn't create like it measures. I have just created a calculation group and I have used this base measure which I have previously created. So this is the way you can use the calculation group. Now I'm going for the second method which is useful for creating the calculation group. So for that you don't need any external tool. You just need to go to their model view, and from here if you want to create a calculation group, you have to click on this calculation group option. So if I click here, I will see this is my new calculation group. I can double click here and change the name. Like I'm giving the name is growth matrix, growth matrix. Now inside this particular growth matrix calculation group, I'm giving the name like I want the item. First, I want an item for MOM. MOM means month over the month. So for that, I'm using calculate function, and then I want the selected measure, and then I want the same period last year, and then calendar date column. So this is basically like this is okay. I need to use a date add. Okay, date add, and then I have to use -1 and then month interval. So this is basically MOM. Okay, so I copy it and then click on this. So MOM is created. Now again, I want to create one more measure. So I will click on this three dot and there is new calculated item. So again, I paste it here, but this time I will create MOM percentage. So MOM percentage means I'm using this selected measure and then I will use a divide function. Okay, so first I will use a divide function, and then inside this, first I will use the numerator. So numerator means selected measure, selected measure minus minus calculate selected measure, selected measure, comma date add, and then I want a date column from the calendar, calendar table, and then I want -1 and then month. So this is the difference. What we can say, this is the difference of selected measure and then the last month of the same measure. And then I will divide it with the same thing. So let me copy this again, paste it here. So this is your MOM percentage, and just making this. Let me copy this again, and yeah. So MOM percentage is there. So let me check. Okay, I need to close this. Okay, it's fine. So MOM percentage is created. Similarly, you can create YOY or you can create YOY percentage. But I'm not creating this. So this is the way you can create this calculation group by using this option calculation group, which is available in model view. So again, I'm creating a new page, and let me copy the same thing. Like let me copy the same matrix here. And this time I will use this calculation group, which is basically growth matrix. I'm dragging and putting it here in the column. So you can see I use the same base measure sales and gross sales, but this time I'm getting MOM and MOM percentage.